Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hassan, and if you guys don't know me, hi. Um, Again, my name is Hassan, um, and basically, what I want to talk about today is humbling yourself. Because when you humble yourself, you get reminded of Allah. You know, I see a lot of people having an ego, and that ego is absolutely absurd. It's crazy, and it's just it takes over their life, and that leads to, you know, actions that Allah may not like, and yeah, I mean, and that kind of leaves you, it kind of leads you to a path where you're not on the right path. Does that make sense? Like, you go to a path where you are astray, right? You're not on the path of Allah, because look, once you're humbled, you get this cautious mindset where, whatever I do will be accounted for on Yawm al Qiyamah, right? And whatever we do is, yeah, we're gonna be held accountable for it, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, and when you're humbled, you're more cautious of Allah, you're cautious of your actions, and that's where we need to be. That's where we need to be. Um, and honestly, I think just humbling yourself is the best way to humble yourself. Is reminding yourself about death, because death is the destroyer of pleasures, and basically when you remind yourself about death, you instantly get humbled, knowing that, I might have an ego today, I might be on top of the ground today, I might be over the ground today, but who said you're gonna be over the ground tomorrow, right? You could be under the ground tomorrow. Allah can take your soul just like that. That can be, during sleep. That can be whilst you're doing the sin, astaghfirullah. I can imagine if you're doing a sin and you're doing something wrong, and then you just, boom, your life's just taken just like that. And it's crazy, wallah. It's absolutely terrifying, that I think, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, I think death visits one about 5 times a day, because there's like 5 prayers, right, in a day. So I think death visits 5 times a day. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, man, it's absolutely terrifying, and I think we should definitely remind ourselves about death, because we're gonna die one day, and that's inevitable. Like, we are gonna die one day, and that's, yeah, and that's inevitable, right? And the fact that we live our lives, acting like we're not gonna die is absolutely absurd. It's crazy, and it's quite sad as well. I mean, once you live a life full of sin, knowing that you could have done better, and then when you go into that grave, you're gonna feel the wrath, man. You really are, and you're really gonna be held accountable for your actions, right? What you did, what you said. Why didn't you pray? Why didn't you give zakat? Why didn't you, you had the money? Why didn't you perform Hajj and Umrah? Why didn't you respect your elders? Why didn't you respect your parents for your parents? Why didn't you respect them? And that's really where it comes down to. And I think I heard this from a lecture from Ustad Abdul Rahman Hassan, and he was saying about a scholar who was talking about this, right? And I think it was a hadith. Correct me if I'm wrong again. Correct me if I'm wrong. The person who is sinful and is dead, when he's on the when his body's getting carried on the people's shoulders, like when they're carrying the body and the body's about to go into the grave, the body's actually screaming. But the thing is, the voice can't be heard by normal human beings. I mean, they can't. The humans can't hear the voice, and everyone, like the angels, can hear it, and it's crazy. And the person who's sinful, he'd be screaming. He'd be like, he'd be basically questioning everything. He'd be like, "Where are you guys taking me? Um, what are you doing? I don't want to go here." Etc. You get the point. He doesn't want to go to the grave, because he knows what he did was wrong, right? And now he's gonna be held accountable for it. Whereas for the person who did good things, he was a pious person, a believer, right? He is gonna be shouting, like, take me to the grave, take me to the grave right now. I want to go to my grave, because he knows that the grave, and ultimately we need to remind ourselves that the grave is gonna be our home. That's our eternal. That's gonna be our actual home, not this world. This dunya is temporary, and we live as if it's it's crazy, man. Wallah, it's actually crazy. And yeah, man, that's literally it. Like, yeah, uh, he's gonna be shouting like, "Take me to the grave," right? Because he knows he did good. He was a pious person. He was a believer for a reason. He strived in the way of Allah. He strived in the way of goodness, right? Whenever he saw an opportunity, bro, he took it in an instant, right? And that's what we should be doing. But the dunya gets to us, and I hope and I pray that Allah makes it easier for us, and become that one person. So yeah, humble yourself, man. Salam.